What's up, everybody? I'm former quarterback Malik Rosier, and if football, sports interviews, and having a good time interests you, then make sure to click the like and subscribe button as it really does help support this channel, and it also makes sure that you guys never miss a new video. How's everyone doing? And welcome back to the Malik Rosier Show. And as you guys can tell, new setup. This is actually my office in my house, which I'm going to start doing YouTube shows out of. So I'm super excited for this. I might even be outside sometimes because the weather here in Tampa is great. But the first thing we're going to go over, because I know it's been a while, is obviously Miami football. Miami looks good. Cam Ward looks phenomenal. A lot of the spots that, a lot of people are like, hey, we're going to be good at, we are good at, which is obviously, up front, O-line, D-line. Cam Ward has been phenomenal. Like I've been saying earlier, he was someone that throughout camp we heard a lot about. The running backs look great. Damian Martinez and Fletcher are super physical. And then, obviously there's a pop of Jordan Lyle. The receiving core looks phenomenal. The tight end group is definitely improved. So there's a lot to go over today. Today we're really going to talk about is really going into the mindset of Ball State. Obviously, for everyone that knows, the week or next week is USF in Tampa, which is where I'm at. So me and my business partners at Murphy Auto and really Kingmakers, which is a group that was put together by some former Miami players and a business partner of mine. They're hosting an event. We're going to start doing posts about it. I hope you guys can join us. It'll be a lot of fun. There'll be food. There'll be drinks. There'll be a ton of TV. There'll be networking. We'll probably even have some other little cool events going on. So if you guys want to come meet me, and hang out with some other Miami alumni, please come. It's right on Del Mabry, so if you're going to the game, you might as well swing by because it's on the same road as the Buck Stadium. I'd say it's about 10 minutes south, maybe a little less, but it's on the same road. It'll be a lot of fun. It's a new venue that we're trying to do different events like this in Tampa. So the first thing that we're going to go over looking at Ball State. The first thing that we're going to go over looking at Ball State is really, the team mindset. So what should the team goals be going into Ball State? So number one, outrush them. This is something that I always say that if you can win the ground game, if you can win up front, you can beat anybody. So outrush them. Obviously, I think our run game should be very dominant. Number two, out physical them. Okay, so that means at the point of attack, we're winning matchups, whether it's O-line, D-line, corners on receivers, linebackers on tight ends, doesn't matter. Beat them up front, beat them badly, make it a mental warfare. When those guys step on the field, they know they're about to get their butts kicked. Number three is out effort them, okay? So, again, if it's a bubble screen, seeing guys flying around, seeing deep into line, making, no retracking, making plays on screens. Just small things like that, that makes a big difference because, again, this is not a team that I think, has any advantages on us, but also in the game of football, if you leave teams around, if you don't give your full effort, that's when you have, upset games and things of that nature. So, defensive mindset. This is something that is big, something that, how do kind of OCs and DCs approach? And again, I'm thinking a little more selfishly because, again, we have a lot of young guys. I know last week we played over 29-ish, maybe 30-ish freshmen. Last week there was a ton, maybe 23, maybe my number's a little high. But I know it was in the 20s. We played a lot of freshmen last week. So I'm hoping that, we get that again because, again, those experience reps, especially the fact that these guys can play up to 4 games without having, to lose eligibility. These guys play up to 4 games without having to lose eligibility is really big. So very interested to see how this goes along. The first one is get a lot of players in, get a lot of young guys in. A lot of the freshmen have a lot of talent, but give them that experience. Let them see different looks. Let them see different coverages. Them trying out different coverages, seeing if they can disguise, who can't disguise, who can get to their depths, who knows the small rules. I think it's going to be really big for the defense. Number two. No runs past 4 yards. And again, that's going to be very hard. But again, if you can keep teams under, 3 to 4 yards per average, that's a really good average. That's kind of where they want to be. So I expect a lot of tackles for loss. I expect a lot of 1 to 2 yard rushes. So again, no explosive runs, nothing 5, 6, 7 yard runs. And number three, again, kind of like we said earlier, out hustle, out hit them. Okay. So if we're hustling sideline to sideline, we're physical up front and we're hitting them each and every down. To me, by the second, third quarter, that team's going to quit. Offensive mindset. Again, get a lot of players in. There's a lot of young guys that we want to see. Again, you know how the transfer portal goes. Guys don't play and they're 4 or 5-star. They transfer. Also, too, for us, when you talk about evaluating and how, prevalent transfer portal is, and hey, if you pick your guys right, you can get some really valuable pieces. We also got to say, hey, who can replace Cam? Who can replace Damian? Who can replace Maybe it's one of the receivers because obviously we're losing Restrepo and we're going to lose Sam. So again, there's some spots on the offense that again there's a lot of talented young guys that need the experience. And secondly, the coaches need to understand again what can they do and does the game kind of get too big for them? Because again, I don't necessarily say the game of football is, but again, you're at home, you're playing a new stadium, you might get more reps playing against a little better team. So I am very interested to see how the young guys play versus Ball State. Number two, establish a dominant run game. You have to beat teams like this up front. Because again, other teams watch this. You're talking about USF watching this. They took Alabama kind of down to the ropes there at the end. So again, talking about dominating up front, obviously I think our line will do that. I don't really have a problem. I think our backs are going to be running guys over. So I think, the fact that we shall be consistent in the run game, hats in the right place, running our feet, backs hitting the right holes, to me, I think we'll be fine, but we got to establish a run game. And number three, no dumb penalties. This is more for like our second unit, no delay of games, no false starts, no illegal motions, no illegal formations. If you get a holding or two, I'm not too mad depending on how the holding was. Was it a severe hold or was it bad? So just things like that is stuff that, as an offensive coordinator, you really want to see how these guys operate and what they can do. Lastly, to me, we kind of talked about this earlier in the season, or really I've been on a lot of Twitter spaces. And, the two teams that I really had to watch, number one was SMU. Number two was Virginia Tech. I was totally wrong. Now kind of watching some of these games unfold, the two teams for me is Cal. For the people that don't know, Anthony Mendoza is from Miami, went to Columbus High. I've trained him a little bit. Kid really knows ball, smart kid, and obviously does have a chip on his shoulder playing Miami. But the real thing about Cal is they're physical. The University of Auburn is a physical team. Yes, they're not the best team. Yes, their quarterback did have struggles. But one thing I will say is Auburn as a whole is a very physical team. That's something that they pride themselves on. So, the fact that Cal was able to stay with that, and I know, again, the quarterback had 3 or 4 turnovers, but again, to play physical with a team like that, to me, it shows a lot of things in Cal. Number two, Syracuse. Experience and could have good momentum. Obviously, they have Kyle McCord. They have some other pieces that they brought in that are really good for them. And again, I've never looked at their schedule, but they can keep winning. End of the season, it's them versus us. Maybe they're one of the teams that, hey, they've been winning a lot, and maybe this is their chance to kind of, get into the ACC championship game, or at least put their names up there. So I think there's going to be a lot riding on the game by the time we get to Syracuse. I think it's going to be more important than what most people think it's going to be. So those are the two teams. Cal and Syracuse are two teams to me. Especially even go back to Cal, especially with us going out to the West Coast. If it's like a 7, 8 o'clock game, that's 10, 11 o'clock at night. And then you're talking about guys, jet lag, things like that. So, again, these are the two teams for me that, we really got to watch for. Again, I hope you guys go to the game. Some of the stuff that I just want to say, I love all the fans that go. I hope more and more fans go. I hope you guys sell the crowd out kind of like we did in 2017 versus Notre Dame. Again, we're asking these young guys to come in here and leave their homes, play for us. Don't go to Florida State, Georgia, Alabama. Again, when there's a home game, and again, if you guys are busy doing something with your family, I get it. Family obviously comes first. But again, if you guys are going to watch it at home on the TV, you might as well come watch it in person. Every person counts. Every person matters, especially talking about, why some of these kids go to certain stadiums, why these kids go to certain schools. When you're in Miami, that stadium is rocking. There's no better place to be than the University of Miami when the Hard Rock sold out. So I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and go Canes.